Hello, welcome to Loremaster's Lair. I am your Loremaster, here today to examine the nation of the Inner Sea region. We are at a point where we're missing any large sources on the remaining countries, but we still have plenty to talk about when it comes to the nation of Rahadoum. I already talked on the area in the past. The Jiska Imperium rose in the area after the Age of Darkness before losing a war against the Turkritanian League and Ancient Assyrian, becoming League territory before Osirian took over, until eventually Osirian itself collapsed. See my Jiska video for more in-depth look on that part of history. After Osirian, the area split into a series of independent city-states where they stayed steady for a few thousand years, increasingly worshipping either Nethys or Norgabur. That was until the faith of Serenray was brought from the east, which suddenly escalated tensions between the three faiths, in turn leading to the destructive event known as the Oath Wars, which began around 2498 AR, and finally ended in 2555 AR. Seeing the widespread conflict and blaming it on worship of deities, this led to the establishment of the laws of mortality, and the banning of all religious practice in the region. Since then, the region has been relatively stable, but faces its own threats like plagues and the slow desertification. The people who live in this region are mostly humans, specifically Gurunde and Moxie humans. There are also Semtej catfolk, sand veteran lizard folk, and Vahird dwarfs. Finally, because of the culture being anti-god, many false-spawn tiefling/cambions, whichever before or after remaster you want to use, do find a welcoming home here. The government is led by the Council of Elders, who represent each settlement and nomadic group. Every 5 years, the council chooses one of their own as the keeper of the first law, the head of state whose duty is to rule through mortal authority alone. In addition, we have the organization known as the Pure Legion, a military force tasked with hunting down all religious practice within the nation's borders. The law of mortality are a big draw for this topic, it being included in several deity books as a philosophy. The law states that there are gods in existence, but to worship them is to trade away your soul in eternal servitude. The laws also point out at how much bloodshed and conflict have resulted from the worship of the gods. Therefore, it rejects the worship of any deity. While laws are mostly focused in Rahadoum, others across the Inner Sea region, especially those who have become jaded with the deities through personal experience, have adopted this philosophy. So now let's try breaking down the places we know. The capital is Azir, the first city to adopt the laws of mortality and the one deemed most responsible for ending the Oath Wars. Potosani seems to be just another town, but actually it has a black market known as the Sword Pit, which smuggles religious items hidden by a more general black market as a front. Holland was once a trade route with Lurgan to the south until that region was consumed and destroyed by the Eye of Abendago. Maniket was once a lush jungle, but is the place hit hardest by desertification of the region. For a place of interest, Rahadoum has many islands, the two largest being Jagged Reach, where one will find a storm giant commune known as Beta Sith, and Fahanleden Island, where the haunted lighthouse known as the Guide Star of Desna stands. There's also a region to the west called the Eternal Races, a place which has survived the current desertification thanks to thousands of springs keeping the deep forest fed. We also have places which are connected to the Jiska Imperium, all in ruins. The cave of Tiandra, where the Imperium started, Menorah, the Jiska's former capital, the citadel of the very sky, which was built by elementalists as one of the frontline fortresses, who then afterwards settled in the mountains deep in a fortress there, the Deep Sky. We also have the remote hanging gardens of Teskra, where the entire population just left one day. The Osla Mall, where Jessica hid their deepest secrets, and finally, the Tomb of Emperors, one of the largest Jessica tombs. A final few places to note. King is a location deep in the southern Napsoon Mountains, where Aussie dragons dwell. Shepherd's Rock is also in these peaks, where the Pure Legion have their headquarters. Finally, the last temple is a mythical place, said to be the final hidden temple the people of Rahadoum need to find and expel to rid their home of the gods for good. And that brings us to the end of today's video. We're almost finished with the nations of Inner Sea region. Should be wrapping those up in a few months, but as for other continents, we still have plenty to talk about as we will be getting into next week. See you then.